Rodgers during their Green Bay days, now quotes a source as saying Jerry Jones' involvement in the Cowboys football operation has worn on McCarthy and that he's, quote unquote, fed up with it a little bit. Keyshawn, big deal or no big deal that Mike McCarthy might be getting fed up?
It's, I guess, Skip, you could say it's not a big deal for somebody like me, but big deal to somebody else because I've seen this movie before. Mm-hmm. This is right around the time where coaches be like, man, this dude, man, and it's not, he's not calling X's and O's. That's not why you fed up. You get fed up because of everything else that goes on while you're trying to lead a team as a head coach, right? That's where you kind of, I've seen it firsthand. Where
you're talking about Bill Parcells.
Well, Parcells or Jimmy Johnson or any, I've seen it. And so,
but you saw it up close and personal.
I saw it up close with Parcells being as a part of the team.
What was the beginning of the end? Terrell Owens?
I think the beginning of the end had already started before T.O. T.O. pushed it over the top. Then the loss to Seattle obviously kicked it into another gear. The constant interviews, the radio shows, the talking about contracts, and just because coaches want to go about not having to deal with that. They just want to coach the guy up. They just want to win. They don't want to get caught up in having to answer for your mistakes every single day, where you are talking about a team, or talking about a player, or talking about a contract, a dispute, or if a guy should be playing or not playing. And I think, and this is right around that time, though, Skip, that 4-year, 5-year window where guys start to say, man, you know what? I'm starting to get teed with this situation. Knowing, though, this is probably going to happen because every coach that's alive, that's still around and coach for Jerry, they going to talk to before they take the job. That's just the reality. They're going to pick up the phone, hey, what's the deal with this guy? And they're going to tell you, hey, man, he's really good with the team. He's really this, he's really that. But this is what's going to happen when things start to go this way. The fact that he's on a lame duck contract right now, 1 year, which, you know, he's a lame duck contract. You know, he started off 6-10 in his 3 straight 12-5 seasons. I believe he's 1-3 in the postseason, 1 victory in the regular season, 3 losses in the postseason, 3 losses in the postseason. Doesn't help his case to be, you know, fed up with him. But I certainly understand, Skip, why he would be. Like, you don't want to continue. Now you're dealing with Dak Prescott, if he should come, if he should go. You're dealing with CeeDee Lamb. Is he mad? Where's his money? Then you're dealing with Michael Parsons. Where's my money? I don't care. You got to deal with all that as a coach. That wasn't what you were supposed to be dealing with. But because your front office and your general manager hasn't handled it a certain way, I got to fill those questions on a consistent basis. And so it becomes to a point where it's like, it's almost like you're trying to set me up for failure. And that's where the frustration comes in.
But Key, you know this. I mean, when you play for the Dallas Cowboys, you know what comes with this. I got an owner, and this is not normal in sports in general, for your owner to be always doing interviews, always at practice, always having a say in something. That's not normal. But you know, when you come to the Cowboys, this is what comes with it, right? Mike McCarthy know that. If he don't win a Super Bowl or get to the NFC Championship, it's going to be some things said and some things that he's not going to like. I mean, he's been unsuccessful. Let's just say that. He hasn't done much since being a Cowboys head coach. I mean, they don't care about the 12-5 records. I mean, yeah, 12-5, 12-5. Well, when are you going to get us to an NFC Championship? When are you going to get us to a Super Bowl? And now, yeah, it's wearing on you because of the pressure of this brand that garners so much media attention. And you don't have a contract in place after this year. That can be frustrating on anybody. I think this is the writing on the wall right now. I think if they don't do something significant this year, like get to the NFC Championship or get to the Super Bowl, this could be it for them.
No,
so that could be frustrating to a coach.
Yeah, they gonna certainly clip him if he don't make it to the NFC Championship.
Yeah, or this could be it. I mean, that's just the way it is. You know, welcome to Jerry's world, y'all. Welcome to Jerry's world.
So when I read this story last night, I started laughing and I couldn't stop laughing. I can't tell you how fed up I am with Mike McCarthy, and I've been fed up with him for a couple of years because he's little more than Jerry's puppet coach, and puppets can't motivate because they're lifeless. And We've had
You done
two.
called the man lifeless.
I mean, he won a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl.
Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers
Yeah,
won a
he's
Super Bowl.
far from
Aaron Rodgers won a Super
lifeless.
Bowl.
Lifeless. He's a bump on a sideline.
He got a
log.
Super Bowl.
All I know is I've seen 2 home playoff games coached, and I put quotes around that, coached by Mike McCarthy. We go back, what was it, 3 years ago. Dallas is a 3-point favorite over Jimmy Garoppolo's San Francisco 49ers, and we don't show up. We're clearly not ready to play. And right away, it's 13-0, and it's 23-7 going into the fourth quarter. And we kind of made it a misleading game at the end of the game, but it really wasn't in question at all. San Francisco dominated that game basically from start to finish. And then I had to sit through that disaster of a debacle of an ordeal that was last year when they were 7-point favorites as the 2 seed at home against the 7 seed Packers, and it's 27-0 before halftime. That has to be on Mike McCarthy, and how he kept his job, I don't know, because there were candidates out there. There was a Jim Harbaugh, and Keyshawn laughs at me about that, but he was out there. He was available. Would he have coached for Jerry Jones? Probably not. Bill Belichick was out there, and maybe he was involved in the Atlanta thing. I don't know to what extent. Maybe he should have gotten it. Maybe he shouldn't have. I don't know exactly what happened, but he was available. Jerry loves him. I think he likes Jerry. Could he coach for Jerry? Well, we might find out, because next year we really might find that out. And Deion Sanders, I know he says, I'm happy at Colorado. I'm here for the duration. But Jerry loves Deion. I think Deion loves Jerry. Deion loves Dallas. Deion loved being a Dallas Cowboy. Would he give in to Jerry enough to come coach this team for the right amount of money? He might. He just might. Could he control Jerry in ways Mike McCarthy has no chance of controlling Jerry? Yeah, I would give Deion a shot at this. So my point is, fed up with, what did you think was going to happen when you were out of a job for a whole year and you took the job? What, seriously, to your point, what do you think was going to happen? Jerry is Jerry. It didn't work with Bill freaking Parcells, because he handed everything to Bill until after, what was it, a couple of years in, and then all of a sudden, he's saying, you know what? I love this Terrell Owens. He's box office, man. I can sell T.O., right? And Bill says, not over my dead body, to the point Bill won't even call Terrell by his name. He calls him the player, right? The player. The player did this and the player did that, and the player sits on the bicycle and rides like Lance Armstrong with his Lance Armstrong hat on. And Bill's like, I can't take this anymore. And to his credit, he said, I'm done with this. I know it was sort of a mutual parting of the ways, but that's Jerry. That's what you're going to get.
But when you in it, though, Skip, and you take a job, everything is kumbaya, we're all good, everything is happy. And then over time, it wears on you.
Sure it does.
To the point where it's like, you know what? This ain't really, this ain't all what it's cracked up to be.
It's just, is it worth the sacrifice you have to make?
Absolutely.
Well, you did get to coach the Dallas Cowboys.
But if you turn it and it goes in your direction and you become a Super Bowl winning coach for the Dallas Cowboys, that's a big deal. It's different than winning a Super Bowl at the Green Bay Packers.
Although that's still a pretty big deal.
Yeah, but it's not the same as the Dallas Cowboys. As much as we want the Packers to be a big deal, the Packers are a big deal, but it ain't the Dallas. It ain't the Dallas. We ain't leading our show off every single Sunday, Mondays, talking about the Green Bay Packers unless they
still have some of that Lombardi mystique that still operates.
Yeah, they do. I'm not discrediting that, but the Dallas Cowboys brand, as we continue to talk about, is so big, Skip, that Jason Garrett has a TV job. I mean, like, think about it. Think about it. All right?
Tony Romo, Troy. It's
it's just, it's the Dallas Cowboys.
It's the Dallas Cowboys. So you don't turn it down, right?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't if they offer it to you. Why would you?
Yeah.
Even if you think that the owner at some point can't get out of his own way.
Yeah.
And I'll say it again, preface it by saying again, he's not telling him what plays to run. This is not an X and O thing.
No. And to Mike's credit, I'm going to give him this. He did call the plays last year. I thought he did a pretty good job. To my eye, I didn't have quibble or quarrel with the way the plays are called. He's just not he's not a motivator who's going to get his team readier than a lot of coaches can get their teams. I think Dan Quinn was, but he wasn't the head coach. So there's a limit to how far you can motivate one side of the ball.
And you don't want to hear about your contract. You just don't want to hear it as a head coach. You got 1 year left. It's do or die. They're asking him those type of questions because they're getting it from the owner, by the owner not endorsing you and saying those sort of things that he would like to have you around forever. Yeah. He's basically saying, let's put up or shut up time.
Yeah,
you don't want to hear that.
All right, and I'll give Mike McCarthy this. If he's frustrated with the ownership, it should be for football reasons, as in what Jerry's not doing. Because Nate Davis of USA Today, for whom I have high regard, one of the best in the business at pro football, just came out with his off-season grades just for everybody's off-season. What have they done so far? And obviously in the NFC East,
give him a fail?
We gave him an F. Okay, the only team.
Star players are still unsigned.
Yeah,
no, but they're under contract.
Yeah.
They're under contract.
But they got 1 year.
They're under contract.
So is this hit or miss for everybody?
Okay, but they've done next to nothing in free agency, and I thought they had a